Welcome back to the League for our Season 4 finale. It's been a busy couple of months since we last had one of these little sit-downs. We've had a long playoffs, a surprising Super Bowl where the Rams emerged victorious, a lot of shocking retirements. Tom Brady hung it up. Ben Roethlisberger retired. It's not as important, but nonetheless, it happened. But before we turn our sights to next year, to Season 5 of the League, we have a little bit of last-minute business to take care of. Just as the NFL has their honors night where they give out their awards, we have some prizes to give out as well. But before we do that, we also have a few announcements to make. Our first announcement is, as always, we're going to be raising the stakes next year. Not only with our buy-in, but also with potential punishments next year, something that's always been a hotly contested issue here in the league, for the loser to have to face some consequences come the end of the season. Our second big announcement is that next season we are planning to have potentially a spin-off league, the League Wags Edition for wives and girlfriends. So for those of you who are single, get out there on Tinder, Bumble, Grindr, whatever you need to do to make it happen. I won't judge because you actually have to have a partner to get in. So more details on those things to come in the off season. But our last piece of business before we get to the awards that I know you've all been waiting for is a little bit of a controversial issue we had in the last couple months, and that is the fate of one Matthew. So as you all know, in the last couple of weeks, the tribal council met, we had a trial, we had a vote by a jury of Matthew's peers. It's very closely contested, but nonetheless, Matthew lost 5-4 in favor of him being banished from the league. The pro-Matthew camp has come to me. They've asked for mercy on behalf of Matthew, but as commissioner, I have the final say, and as difficult as it may be, I have to lay down the law, enforce the judgment, and the judgment remains Matthew is out. Anyway, our main story tonight involves awards. Namely, the ones that you guys are going to be getting for your performances this season. Our first award of the evening has got to go to the most valuable player, the MVP, and as you all know, no surprise to anybody, that's got to go to King Scott for his dominant performance throughout the regular season, finishing in first place, finishing with most points of anybody, and although he didn't make it to the championship, we simply cannot take that away from him. Got to get that MVP prize. Our second prize of the evening is going to be the crown for a 2021 league champion. And that goes to none other than Pranav, who showed us in the championship that you don't actually need a running back to win in this game. All you need are two really dominant wide receivers. Now, we have two pairs of brothers in this league, the Nassim boys and the Lloyds. And so our next award has to go to the one who finished with the best ranking of all of them. So the prize for biggest brother goes to Adam Lloyd. Our next award goes to the player who made the most of a weak team, who strung together victories against all the odds, and so the award for biggest overachiever goes to Peter. Our next award goes to the player who showed us some of the best performances of the season and also some of the worst, seriously, some of the worst ever in the history of the league, and that includes a 56-point showing one week. The award for boom or bust goes to Armin. Our next award goes to the player who started off hot and then burned out as the season went on, finishing just 1 win, 5 losses in the last 6 weeks of the season. The Falling Star Award goes to Alfredo. Our next award goes to the player who lost the most games by the tightest margin. With 4 games lost by 6 points or less, that award goes to me. The NFL gives out the award for Offensive Player of the Year, but we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. This next prize goes to the person who was on the offensive more than anybody else, trying to improve their team and squeak out those wins. So with 70 transactions, more than anybody else in the league, the award for Most Offensive Player of the Year goes to Adon. This next prize is pretty self-explanatory. It goes to the player who was on the mountaintop, who tasted glory, and then fell further than anyone thought possible. So if we're going from 2-time league champion to banished from the league in the span of a single season, the award for biggest fall from grace goes to Matthew. Our final award of the evening goes to the player with the biggest chip on his shoulder, who's finished at the bottom of the rankings for more years than I care to remember. And I'm sure more years than he cares to remember as well. This year, he started off strong, but when McCaffrey went down, things quickly went to hell. But it gave him the opportunity to reclaim his rightful title, and so the award for most perennial of underdogs goes to Dr. Faraz. So that's it. Those are your awards. Some of you bask in the glory. Others, you should probably be a little bit ashamed. But that's okay. Dust off a spot in your trophy case, put the award in there, and then turn your sights to next season, because another year is in the books. We now turn our attention to 2022 season, the league season 5. I'm sure it will be filled with drama, higher stakes, and as you know, we always go bigger and better. So until then, I've been Commissioner Jared. I'll see you next year. Enjoy the off season, and to Matthew, some parting words.